Welcome. This is session 5 of our series, and today we're going to talk about our whole self and how we can be our whole integrated self. But first, let's meet our panel. Would you be kind enough to say your name and maybe something that's been good in your life in the last few days? Susan?
My name is Susan Gannon, and I got a surprise call this week from somebody who saw my name on my website and asked me to design and deliver a program on procrastination. So I'm hoping it will help me with my meditation.
Nice.
My name is John Laurie, and 2 days ago I received a acceptance for publication for an article that I've written and submitted. So made me very pleased to hear
Yeah,
that.
that's always nice. Thanks, John.
Hello, I'm Sue Gersten, and pretty recently I joined a senior chorus, so I'm having the opportunity to express myself through singing, so that's been fun.
Good deal. Thank you.
I'm Michelle. Earlier I said that something I felt that was missing from my life was a sense of direction. I'm a college student, and I finally made a decision, so I'm happy about that.
Yes. And you could always change it, right?
Yes.
Good. That's the best thing about decisions. Okay. Now, just to review a bit, there are two things we need to know. The first thing is that we have a fully alive self. Every once in a while, we'll feel peaceful or centered, joyous, loving, confident, energetic, aware. And those feelings just often come from no place. Like, remember the time I was skiing I told you about? And suddenly, from no place, I got the feeling of being expansive and joyous. And we all have those feelings from time to time. They don't come too often, but they come. And when those feelings come up, we say, we're fully alive. Now we're fully alive. And the interesting thing about that is, we're not fully alive normally. We have our good days and our bad days. But when feelings like this come, then we feel complete together, fully ourselves. Let's look a little more closely at that, because that's an important thing to know. We have, of course, a body, which is our bones and our muscles, and we have a mind, which is our thoughts and our memories, and we have something that's essential. Now, our body keeps changing, so that's not a central part of us. When I was 2 years old, my body was very small. When I was 12, 14, 22, my body kept getting bigger and bigger. It kept changing, but I was still Merrill. I was still me. And my mind kept changing when I moved from 2 to 12 to 22. But I was still me. There was something about me that didn't change. And that essential part of us is where these feelings lie. You may have noticed that you cannot think yourself into being peaceful or to being loving or joyous. If you love somebody or you feel loving, you feel it. You can't talk to yourself into feeling loving or peaceful. This is part of our essence. And the important thing to know is that this stuff is in all human beings, and they're in all of us. And we don't usually have access to it. And meditation is nothing more than a process of making this part of our life. So we're more fully alive, more often, more naturally. And we could say it another way, that that our job is to become an integrated mind, body, and soul, just to use that lingo. Now, by and large, we live in our mind. So that's the first thing to know. And we're not aware of this great stuff inside us. Now, the second thing I want to emphasize is that what we attend to, we attach to, and what we turn from, we free ourselves from. I'd like to explain that a little bit, because that's the second thing to know. When we have a backache, for example, and we're busy doing something, we find that it's best to not pay any attention to the backache, not to attend to it, but rather to do our job. If we're going to do our work, then the backache will be less. If we focus on the backache, it'll be harder to do our work. We'll get attached to it, and there'll be a groove in our beingness, and the backache will be more pronounced. The same thing for a worry. If we've got a worry and we really need to do something, we've learned that it's by and large useful to put aside the worry and to do what we need to do. That is, we attend to the worry, we attach to it. Alternatively, if we turn from it, we free ourselves from the worry. If we turn from our backache, we free ourselves from the backache. And that's very important. Because stuff comes to us in life. Our mind picks up things all the time. Our mind is always active. And if we attach to the stuff that comes into our mind, we'll keep living in a mind-centered way. And we won't have access to the full self that's in the center of us. That love, joy, peace, security, wisdom, good stuff like that. But if we, in meditation, if we turn from the stuff that comes up while we're meditating, just turn aside from it, just notice it, but don't get attached to it. And if it preoccupies us, just let it go. Not now, honey. Kind of treat it that way. That's in me, that's a thought, but I'm just not going to pay attention to it. Then it will get freer from it. And then as we free ourselves little by little in that way, our mind stuff becomes less compulsive for us. And we can live less controlled in our body. And as we release control from our mind stuff, then our essential self, that good stuff, has room to shine. That's simply the way meditation works. Any question about that? Okay. Then let's do it, and then we'll talk about it a little more and see if we can put this into practice. So please sit straight, tall, put your hands together. It works better with our hands together, and close your eyes. And first, become aware of your breathing. What I'd like you first to do is attend to your breathing. Notice the air coming in and out. Just gently put your attention on your breathing. This step will take our attention off this mind stuff that keeps preoccupying us, and it's the first step towards relaxation, becoming more free to be ourselves. So again, put your attention fully on your breathing, and don't pay much attention to what I'm saying. Just enjoy the air coming in and the air going out. And now, as we did in the past, I'd like you to begin saying to yourself in some loving, gentle way, some way that feels good to you, feels good to your deepest insides. Ananda. Ananda. Just drop that vibration, or drop that word down into your center, the place below your mind where your joy and peace and love, where the best parts of you reside. Ananda. Use Ananda to call forth your very best self. You'll have thoughts while you're doing that. Your mind never stops. But just don't pay much attention to them. Leave them in the background, like my voice is in the background. In the foreground is a na, na. And if you should ever forget about Ananda and your breathing, that your mind took over, something in your mind is controlling your attention, just notice what it is. Say, not now, honey, let it go. Or see it float away if you're a visual person, and start all over by becoming aware of your breathing. And once you're established in breathing awareness, begin saying, Ananda, Your ears will always hear, your mind will always think, your body will always churn, your mind and body are active. But just don't pay much attention to that stuff right now. And if some thought controls your attention to the extent that you forgot about your breathing and you forgot about Ananda, just let it go, turn from it, say not now, and put your attention back on your breathing. You'll always be breathing, so you can always be aware of it. And once you're established in breathing awareness again, once you're saying Ananda, you can forget about your breathing if you like. Or you could coordinate Ananda and the breathing if you prefer. Either way is okay. Okay, slowly open your eyes. Now what we did is quite simple. That's mantra meditation. And first we put our awareness on our body, we put our awareness on our breathing. That integrates our mind and our body. It already makes the stuff in our mind less controlling of us. And then we started saying Ananda. And that sound, especially when we say it in a way that's coherent, consistent with that beautiful stuff inside us, when we say it in some loving, gentle way, starts activating our essence. And we move towards coordination of mind, body, and soul. That is, we're attending what we tend to attach. So we're not attaching to the mind stuff during meditation. We're turning from mind stuff, so we're becoming free of it during the meditation time. And rather we're attending to our essence with Ananda. And so we're going to attach more to our essence. And little by little, as we do that regularly, we take with us some of that good stuff. As we come back from meditation, we become more balanced, more whole. And our mind things don't control us so much. We're more able to live as a whole being, mind, body, and soul. And just the way we can now use our body. If I need to raise my hand, I can raise my hand. If I need to walk, I could walk. We're able to use our mind. That is, I want to solve a problem, I could think about it. If I want to remember something, I could remember it. But I don't feel compelled. I'm not controlled by all that mind stuff. The worries, the projects, the stuff that I don't want to be controlled by. I want to be free from, so I can be whole and have access to the peace, the joy, the love in me. So that's what we've learned so far. Any questions about that? Any questions about anything about meditation? Yeah, Sue?
I mean, I know sometimes when I'm meditating at home, I'll start thinking about everything I have to do, and I feel like I have to get up and do it at that minute. That's a challenge for me. What would you suggest?
That's the heart of it, exactly. So what you've got to do is when you're meditating and there's something, oh, I got to do all these things, just notice. Oh, I got the feeling like I have to do all these things. Attend to it and then turn away from it. Say, not now. Not now. I want to be aware of my breathing. Then I want to say Ananda. So you don't reject that part of you that wants to be active, but you turn away from it for the moment. And as we keep turning away from the stuff that comes from our mind, little by little the heat comes out of it. It loses its power over us. Just like when we turn away from things, from our worries, they don't preoccupy us so much. When we turn away from people, they don't bother us so much. Just gently turning away, not rejecting. And little by little, that busyness, to be busy all the time, will less control you, and you'll be busy when you want to be busy, but you won't feel you have to be busy, and when you're not busy, you won't feel guilty or ill at ease.
That'd be good.
Yeah. That's the benefit of meditation. Anybody else? John?
I was surprised how quickly it worked.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like a very long period of time, and yet it was very dramatic in the result.
Yeah. See, when we tune into our essence, it's always there. So just attending to it, then we can attach to it, and we give it opportunity to come up, and then it's available to us. You can't attach to your center directly, but Ananda gives you a tool to get there. Yeah. Susan?
Is there a best time to meditate? I'm having trouble getting it in at into my life.
Yeah. There are two things about the best time. One is to find a slot in your in particular days where it can be routine, the way you brush your teeth routinely. What you don't want to do is think, should I do it now? Should I do it then? Because thinking about it will make it more complicated, and it'll discourage you from doing it. You want to do it thoughtlessly. So like every morning after you get dressed, before you go get involved with breakfast, is a good time. Or after you brush your teeth, it's a good time. Or before dinner is a good time. It's usually not good late at night when we get too tired. We tend to fall asleep on it. We never get to the full time. Or when we have to think about it. So find a regular slot, and that'll be the best time for you. Any other questions?
I guess I'm just trying to find a balance between when a thought arises, to watch it rather than reject it, because I want to think my thoughts, the things I have to do, but during meditation we're not supposed to think, so we can have that essential self. So.
Yeah. Then I remind you of that story with my daughter when I was busy typing and she came. She was 2 or 3 and didn't know that she was not supposed to bother Daddy at that time. Often she would come and I would say, "Not now, honey," and "Not now, honey." And after a while, she got the idea that when Daddy was working, she'd leave herself alone and I would give her time afterwards. Treat thoughts the same way. Accept them. Don't reject. I didn't say, "Go away, go away." I don't want to go. I didn't do anything like that. I said warmly, "Not now, honey." So treat thoughts like that, like you have this problem you want to think about, and it's a useful thing to think about, and your mind is clear, so you might do good thinking right now. But if it's during meditation, say, "Not now. Now I want to be aware of my breathing or Ananda. I'll come back to you later." It's not rejecting, but not getting attached to it. We want to keep getting free of stuff during meditation, and then we'll have choice the rest of our lives. Any other questions?
If you're particularly worried or upset, can you do like a short meditation, a mini meditation?
Absolutely. Any time during the day when you feel upset, worried, guilty, anxious, and you can't, or you're depressed, or you're too excited, or anything, you feel out of balance, sit quietly, or you could even lie down, put your hands together, become very aware of 2 or 3 or 4 breaths, maybe say an Ananda or 2 or 3, and you'll become more whole. You'll have let go. Just by putting your attention on your breathing, you'll have let go of the worry or the distress or the depression or whatever. You'll become a bigger self. Try it. And you might even teach it to others. It's very useful to teach that little way to handling upsets to others. It'll help you understand it better too. Any other questions? Okay. Then I'd like you to think back to our several discussions and think back and what have you gotten out of it? In general, what could you say you've learned, or you rediscovered, or you were surprised, or you're promising, or you're wondering about? Yes.
I just feel like in situations when I'm getting really angry or overwhelmed by my emotions or have all the demands on me, I'm able to use the breathing meditation as a way to, like, it's almost like a sieve through which all my worries go through and only the important things are left over at the end.
Yeah. It's like the mini meditation I spoke of before. Mm-hmm. You notice when you're upset and too muchness, like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit the pause button.
Yeah, that's a good learning. Thank you. Anybody else get something from all this?
And I think I am learning to let go and not get as caught up in my thoughts. And I think for me also, Meryl, after I meditate, I just feel more peaceful and loving, more of those feelings that we're our essential selves. And I'm finding that.
Because you're letting go of some of that mind stuff. So once the mind stuff learns that it can't control you, when you don't want to be involved with mind stuff, your projects, your problems, your goals, all that productive stuff as well as the problem stuff. Once your mind learns that you want to be your bigger self, and you can be your bigger self, it'll leave you alone. Yeah. Good.
I was surprised I could learn to meditate. I've spent a long time trying to figure it out. I had a lot of noise in my head, and you really taught me for the first time how to really meditate. And I learned how to not get lost in the weeds. I could let it go, and I just felt like I had a lot more space in my head to do the things I really wanted to do.
Nice. Nice. Anybody else get something from it, John?
I learned that my day goes better when I meditate in the morning. And it was such a positive reinforcement that it has encouraged me to stay with it. And if I don't meditate, the day doesn't go as well. So it really works for me.
Good, yeah. Trial and error. You experience it directly. Yeah. And viewers, I hope you will experience it directly for yourself and taste it and see if it works for you as well as it works for other people. Anybody, anything else that you got from this? I'm wondering, I promise, I was surprised, I learned, anything like that.
I'm hoping that I stick to it as a long term, that it's not just a passing thing in my life and that I really make this a part of my life. Like Susan, I think I've always been fascinated by meditation, and this is the first time I'm actually doing it. So.
Good for you. Thank you. Okay, let me ask you another question. When you say Ananda to yourself, what kind of uplifting feeling do you associate with it? How do you get it to feel good for your insides? That's always hard for me to explain. Can you give me some examples or talk about how you drop Ananda inside you comfortably?
It might sound strange, but I feel like my brain's always very tense, and it sort of feels like Ananda is like massaging and releasing my tension in my brain, you know? Does that make sense?
Sure. If it works for you, any way to say Ananda that feels good for you. And it may change. You may do that now, and later on you find out that it fills your heart in some way. That tends to happen. It evolves. But that's good.
I feel a real... Oh, sorry. Do you want to say
Sue?
something?
I sometimes see it as... I see the word as a semicircle, kind of in yellow, and it with it's almost like the sun. Like I'm seeing the sun with rays around it. So it makes me feel up and positive.
Ah, yeah. Very nice. So when you say Ananda, it brings that image to you. Mm-hmm. And again, it may change in the future, but that anything that feels good, again. Anybody else?
It feels a real lifting feeling. I really get a lift from saying it.
When
Ananda.
you say it in a way that feels lifting.
Yeah.
Uplifting.
Uplifting.
That's the word, isn't it?
Yeah, it is uplifting. But I'm also lifted.
Good for you. Another interesting issue to look at is how we let go of things. How do you go about, if something is in your mind, how do you go about letting it go so you can go back to your breathing or to Ananda?
I visualize it. Like if it's a person in my life that I'm thinking about, I just kind of visualize him going away.
Very nice, very nice. Give him a, personify him and see him, goodbye.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I either see the image sort of going up into the clouds, just going into the sky, or sometimes I've tried almost like a thought balloon. Like I see the image or the word in a balloon being released.
Whoops. And you see it floating away.
It's floating away.
Very nice. You're a visual person, I could tell. Anybody else?
I find if I label it, it kind of takes the sting out of it. So I say, oh, worry, concern, anger.
Or even a positive thing, a project. I'll think about that later.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a negative thing.
And
Giving
just-
it a name often helps.
Yes.
Because when we give something a name, we're stepping outside of it, and we're already creating some
Detaching.
distance. Good.
Yeah.
Susan? Can you say anything?
I mean, I feel, very much the same as what I've heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have to have anything new or different.
Plus the not now honey I think is a great thing. Just say not now honey.
I like that phrase because it's accepting yet turning it away clearly and definitely.
Yeah, you just watch it go away.
So viewers, your job now is to do this mantra meditation. Do it regularly, slot it into your day, and if you have any questions or problems, give us a call or write us at our email address. Thank you very much for watching.